This week, San Francisco's Supervisor Walton introduced a resolution calling for reparations for the city's African-American residents. Supervisor Walton is joining us now live to talk more about this effort. Supervisor, we appreciate you coming on. How do you believe reparations in San Francisco will help to address racial disparities?
Well, if we look at the history going back to slavery and even some of the things that have happened to the black population here in San Francisco because of the impacts, if we look at redlining and we look at the redevelopment agency pushing the outmigration of the black population here, reparations are the way to say that the free labor that was provided by black people, we need to make sure that that is addressed, and to make sure that some of the policies that continue to affect us that are a direct reflection of the impacts of slavery, we need to overturn that by providing reparations for black people here in San Francisco.
Okay, so what would the reparations plan look like in San Francisco that you envision here? How much money are we talking about? How do you determine who's eligible?
So what we're doing here in San Francisco, we just introduced a resolution that was supported unanimously by the entire Board of Supervisors. And the resolution talks about all the injustices that have happened to black people here in San Francisco, injustices in housing, black businesses, education, over incarceration, over criminalization, all those injustices. The resolution sets up a working group that will be legislated, and that working group will work on what area to prioritize first, and then we will work on a plan and a package that we'll put together to monetize each of those areas of injustices and what goes to the community. But first we have to prioritize what injustices we want to focus on first. So as we talk about an exact monetary amount, we're not there yet, but we are putting together a plan that will get us a package that will address those injustices.
And when you talk about the injustices and the inequities that we see across society, what are the biggest areas of concern for you?
Well, you look at the economic gaps that exist because of some of the impacts of slavery, of some of the impacts of the Jim Crow era and redlining. You look at outmigration. So it's all about economics. It's all about housing injustices. It's also about education, access and equity, and the denial to proper education for some of the black community. We have to make sure that all those things are addressed. But what I don't want to do is say, as supervisor, my understanding of what to prioritize is solely to focus on what we do. So I want to make sure that community weighs in and talks about what they feel should be prioritized, so we put together a complete plan and package with the entire community working together.
And you talked about having your resolution having the support of the full Board of Supervisors. When you talk to people, though, across the city, do you have a sense of how much broad support you have for this plan across the city, and how likely you are to get this across the finish line?
Well, we definitely have a groundswell of support in terms of community understanding the negative impacts of slavery and some of the overcriminalization and other negative aspects that have plagued the black community, not only across the country, but here in San Francisco. And so we have so many allies that have come in full support of reparations for the black community. In fact, we had a press conference a couple of weeks ago that was attended by every ethnicity, every member of our marginalized and majority communities that spoke about why black people deserve reparations here in San Francisco, and spoke about their support. So I am confident that we have the support, and we're just excited about being able to finally address some of those injustices and do it in a manner that monetizes some of the negative impacts that have affected my community.
All right, well, please keep us up to date on this effort moving forward. We always appreciate your time. That is San Francisco Supervisor Walton. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us this afternoon.